the big thing for me is that there's just some non-negotiable table stakes that you need. And if you have those right tools, if you have the right CRM, the right marketing automation platform for the stage you're in, you have a good way to keep the data between the two clean. Whether that's an orchestration tool or in a much smaller company, you can probably get away with like rules between the systems. But if you have those three things, and you've got good ways to track your deals, like your contracts signing, your quotes, those kinds of things. And you have your other in the marketing world, the ways that the channels need to perform. Like, do you have a good webinar platform? Do you have good ad platform? Do you have good ways to understand intent signals? Like, to me, that's your table stakes right there. And then you've got nice to haves that you can add on and layer on as the company matures. I think there's a lot of times that people try to solve problems with tools that are way too advanced for where the company is.
Yeah.
Part of my balance that I struggle with is I wanna advance the teams, and I wanna advance our capabilities in being a more modern platform. I'm looking 10 steps ahead about, like, what should we add next, and then I have to figure out what's the right time for that, and how do I bring everybody along on that journey? Because it is hard to get people to change their mindset or think about doing something differently than they had been doing it. And maybe we're not quite ready yet, but we've gotta push this organization to change their thinking and do it through this tool.
Yeah, you touched on a few really good points. It's like the tooling itself, there's an investment cost
Yep.
and there's an ROI that's an output. I always find like the balancing of like where you are in the maturity of the company and the size. For every tool, there's almost a relatively fixed investment cost. So some tools that are meant for more mature organizations, doesn't matter how small or big the company is, there's at least a minimum threshold of investment that's required to implement. And so you just have to gauge the ROI accordingly when you're doing so. But I think the other side of it, what you're talking about, kind of the change management, it's so true. It's not just implementing the tool. You have to think about the process to maintain, use it to reap the rewards. And I think that part is where you have this negative stigma around tool bloat. I mean, in theory, you can have a lot of tools. If they're all well organized and structured together and they're being used,
Yep.
you could actually reap the reward and see an ROI. Whereas you can have half the tech stack. If a bunch of them are not being fully utilized, you're actually less effective. So it's
Totally, totally.